On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. What we do is use the actual historical returns for the S&P 500 over the last 100 years, which includes the depression years. We project ahead what similar returns might do for in the future. They obviously won't be identical, but the resulting numbers are simply a possible range of what may happen in the future. In this video, I want to look at somebody that's reached the withdrawal stage. They're going to give me the beginning balance, their monthly withdrawal, their Social Security amount, and when to start it. And we're going to go ahead and run the numbers for them. So let's see how this is going to work out for somebody. They have $560,000 saved up. 560,000. Planning on 5,000 a month in expenses. They want to see where they might be. Now, at this point, if we haven't considered Social Security, that's a 10.71% withdrawal rate, which is way above 4% rule. In fact, let me show you how many times in the last 100 years, if you had this kind of numbers without taking account in Social Security, how many times you would have run out of money using the returns for the last 100 years. 63% of the time you'd run out of money. We can click on a lot of years here and seeing how you'd be running out of money no matter what year you picked. There's a lot of times you wouldn't make it even 20 years. I can just click all kinds of numbers. You can see them run out of money there. But they took the Social Security, which he's got a nice Social Security. That's 2350. Now we're down to a more reasonable 5.68% withdrawal rate. We're also going to do a 70-30 split, which means 70% is going to stay in the S&P 500 because you want to have quite a bit in there. So when the market goes down, you're taking it out of the cash reserve account rather than a market. Let's see how that might change things. In just a second, we got a 5.68% withdrawal rate, a 70-30 asset split, and we're going to give us a 3% COLA. We're going to change a couple of these numbers just to show you what we knew on this channel. Now we're down to a 9% failure rate. Let's look at the actual graph here for the 20-year period. You got the depression years, and you also got the year 2000. These are the ones that always show up. Why? Because we obviously know about the decade of the 1930s was a bad decade, but also the decade of the 2000s, because if you started out retiring with these kind of returns, they call it sequence of returns risk, and have 3 down years plus down 37, you could run into problems. And that's exactly what happens right here, running out of money in the year 2000. Let me go down here and show you this here real quick. 2000. Right there, you can see the red right there, running out of money in 15 years. If you did 1999, you're running out of money in 18 years. Again, if the returns were like this, even though you had a good year, if you had 3 down years, that's what's so important about these initial years. If they start out having a string of them, especially if you have 3 or so initially, that can really affect how long your money might last. What might you be able to do differently if you're not comfortable? Again, 91% of the time, you are just fine. You look at the graph again, these numbers are just awesome. But you kind of want to protect yourself from that initial possibility. Once maybe you're into retirement, you haven't had these down years like that, then maybe you could increase it. But what if you just took 4,500 out? Let's see how that changed it for the year 1999. Did it change it for the year 2000? Yes, you're really down to 37,000 after 20 years. But at least you're not out like you were right here in the year 5,000. What's one other thing you could do? Possibly you could do a 2% COLA. And it looks like you're still running out of money in the year 2000. 1% COLA, 0% COLA. It looks like unless you want to eliminate your COLA to nothing, you might have a problem. If you had returns, again, folks, this was rare. Remember, 91% of the time you were fine, but 9% of the time, if you have returns like that. We just wanted to run the numbers for this individual. Again, probably the best case scenario is if you can cut back on your expenses, so you only need 4,500 a month. Let's see if we change the asset allocation. Again, we're looking at the most recent numbers. We could be looking at depression years, but this happened within the last 25 years. So I always look at the worst case scenario in the last 25 years and run the numbers accordingly. With a 2% COLA and a 60-40 split, how does this affect the numbers right here if we would happen to have returns like this in the coming years? You see a 60-40 split? Yeah, it looks like it didn't really help any. How about a 50-50 split? It actually is kind of getting worse. 60-40, looks like it's staying about that 100 to 150,000 you'd be down to after 20 years. It's getting a little bit iffy. That's only if you have 3 down years initially. If we go to 2001, then you got a lot more money after 20 years, over half of what you had when you started. And again, that's at a 2% COLA. If I go back to a 3% COLA, then this is going to go down. But these are some of the variables you can do. Maybe cut from 5,000 down to 4,500, from a 5.6% withdrawal rate down to a 4.61% withdrawal rate. You can change your asset allocation. Let's do a 60-20, see if that changes. 80-20. That actually helped in this scenario in the year 2000. Did it help much in the year? Yeah, it looks like it actually helped even in the year 2000. You notice the difference between the 70-30 split getting down to 37,000 after 20 years. With an 80-20 split, you actually have 108,000. You're still going in the wrong direction, but it's a little bit better. So it looks like it went from 5,000 down to 4,500. Went to a 3%. Actually, if you go to 2% COLA, you're going to do even better right here. And also an 80-20 split for your asset allocation, because you really want to stay as much in the S&P 500. At least that's what the numbers show. You do want to have that cash reserve account, so when the market's going down, these amounts are coming out of that instead of knocking this down even farther, because it looks like you can just hang in there. You're going to have returns like this if it returns to what it's historically done over and over and over again for the last 100 years. You can have some down years, like 1973 and 74 were down, but look how it came back: 37, 23, 18. Uh, Came back in the year 2000. All these numbers going went down 37, but look how it came back in the last decade. That's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. I want me to run numbers for you. Just give me your beginning balance, your monthly withdrawal, your Social Security amount, and when to start it. We were just looking at taking right from the very first year to help out your numbers. Also, if you get a pension, we can work that too. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Please share with friends and everybody that you know. Comment, like the videos. Let people know there's a channel out there that will run numbers to give them some idea what they might be looking at in the future. And thanks for watching.